Hey, what's up guys? And welcome back in to the garage. I'm super excited about today's video because it's been quite literally years in the making. And while it sounds a bit dramatic, it's true. It's because for the past few years, I've been on the hunt at local salvage yards around my area, trying to find a 3-spoke steering wheel out of a Toyota Corolla S model. And if you guys don't know, that's like trying to find a needle in a huge haystack. While I could have bought it from a reseller, honestly, I just really enjoy the hunt. And it is so satisfying to be able to find something, pull it, bring it back, restore it, and place it onto your own rig. And I was lucky enough to finally have that moment. In this video, we're gonna start it off by showing you guys the exact moment that I was out of town 2 hours away at a salvage yard I'd never visited, and I was about to call it a day and wrap it up. And I decided to take one more look at an area that I hadn't yet been to, and I came across this particular 02 Corolla S. And needless to say, I was completely shocked and totally excited. Now with that said, in this video, I'm gonna take you through the steps that I took in order to replace my OEM 3rd generation 4Runner steering wheel with that 3-spoke model. Now for you guys that are OEM purists, you may not like this swap, but honestly, I have absolutely loved it. It's been a couple of weeks since I installed it, and in those 2 weeks driving with it, it feels great, it handles well, and I love the sporty look. And honestly, it fits the vision on where I want my 3rd gen build to go. So I'm super thrilled with it. Now we'll go ahead and give you a bit of a spoiler here and say that this particular swap was really just plug and play, super easy. And that's because the connections in the 02 Corolla and in my 2004 Runner are exactly the same. The cruise control module and the airbag electrical connections are totally compatible with one another. So it was easy to snap in, snap out, and do the right steps. If you guys want to do a similar modification on your rig, make certain that you do the right research and really look at what model you're pulling the steering wheel from before you put it on your rig, because it might require more in-depth modifications such as electrical, or even potentially getting the clock spring off the donor vehicle and putting it into your rig. So make sure before you spend that money and make that commitment that you know what you're working with. Now with that said, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Like I said, I love the end result. If you guys have any questions or comments, please, as always, feel free to leave them. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I really appreciate your support, man. It helps me to continue making these videos and getting content out there that helps people save time, save money, and empower them to do a job themselves and feel great about it in the end. As always, thanks so much, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Well, guys, I just walked a country mile to find this Corolla. And if you see that at the top right, you might know what's coming. But I didn't even know it was an S until I saw this beauty. Red stitched, 3-spoke steering wheel in fantastic condition. This one's coming home with me, man. Well, guys, we are back in the garage, and I am so excited about pulling this steering wheel. As a reminder, we found this on our salvage yard trip, and we pulled it from a 2002 Corolla Type S. And yes, since it is a Type S, it has the red stitching that I'll show you guys right here. And you know, if you guys know anything about these 3-spoke steering wheels from the Type S and the red stitching model, they are extremely rare to come by. I mean, at least when you're on my end and you're the individual that's going out to the salvage yards and just looking and digging and trying to find that hidden treasure. And if you find them, honestly, you will see some scuffs and some wear on this wheel here, and I'll kind of point out some other things to you guys you might already be picking up on. But it's hard to even find them in this good a condition. You can go online and find them on eBay or some other marketplace, potentially like Facebook Marketplace, but they are a prime penny for these steering wheels in this condition. And man, it is so exciting to be able to find it and pull it and pay what I did for it, which I got out the door with the steering wheel and the airbag for a little under $100. So for that, I'm pretty excited. It was a little more than I expected, to be honest with you, but at the same time, for both of this, it's fantastic. So we're gonna start the process tonight of cleaning up this steering wheel and trying to just kind of start getting some of this dirt and residue off the wheel to really remove the imperfections and see what we're working with, because I can already see that there's certain things on the wheel. So we'll go ahead and start pointing out some of those. First off, right here, down at the 6 o'clock location, you can see that there is some clear wear on the steering wheel, right, from just handling. So we'll see how that works out. We've got some marks here, which I think are basically, they're going to be able to come out. We got some wear marks on our typical location where, you know, as you drive, you'll rest your hand, just like that kind of a thing. Got some more dirt marks here. When we flip it up, you can see right here and right here that the leather is kind of separating apart, ripping out a little bit. But overall, if you look at the circumference here of the steering wheel as I pass over and give you guys a view, honestly, it looks really, really good. You know, there might be, man, just something very small there that's really not even that big of an indentation, but it looks great. Typically, you'll find that the wheel itself, okay, right here, is damaged in some way, that there's holes, that there's rips, little poke marks, you know, from random stuff, but it's in great shape. You can see the back of the steering wheel itself, great shape. Once again, just needs to be cleaned. The cruise control is in fantastic shape there. The little dust shield for the cruise control still looks fantastic. And you know, even the Toyota emblem looks good. Again, for its age, right? But there's a little wear right there in the top left of the Toyota emblem that we're probably not going to be able to do anything with. And obviously, since I got this airbag, you can see everything is intact, looks good, and we're all set there. I did get the screws that go in each side here. I just obviously took those out when I removed it from the Corolla, and I have placed those to the side. So we're going to go ahead, like I said, and start our process of cleaning this up. And I'm really excited, man. I honestly think what I've decided to do is swap this steering wheel into my 3rd gen 4Runner. And, you know, worst case scenario, the steering wheel in my 4Runner, which is my stock OEM steering wheel, it's the 4-spoke. It's beautiful. It's in excellent condition for its age. I do love the steering wheel. I'm one of those guys, it's the black one. I like it. It looks good, right? It fits the vehicle. But I really like the look of these in the 4Runner. And I think we're going to do it. So let's go ahead. Enough talk. Let's start working and start cleaning this up. So we're going to start on the airbag assembly. It's the easiest, it's the smallest, and that's where we're going to begin. We're going to start by using our Chemical Guys Nonsense Invisible Super Cleaner. I'm not going to dilute it. We're going to spray it on here. We're going to use this agitator brush right here to get everything loosened up and all the surface dirt. I'm not going to leave it on the airbag very long. And then we're going to take our microfiber and wipe it off. So that's going to be step number 1. So we're going to start here by just giving it a nice spray down, and I'm going to take that agitator brush and work into it in a circular motion. As you can see, this airbag assembly has those perforations, and you know, by working in this circular fashion, it's going to help to get any of the dirt that has accumulated inside of those little perforations, those little holes, if you will, out of the steering wheel. Now on first pass, first thing I notice, our cleaner there, unfortunately, lifted up some of that black finish on the Toyota emblem itself. You can see it's flaking off, and that's just from age. I'm really not worried about that, and I'll tell you why. I believe that aftermarket I can find basically a decal that replaces that badge that will allow me to stick that on that badge. I think they make different options, and that's ultimately what I'm probably going to do. So not too worried about that. And I knew that going into it. So perfectly fine with that. We're going to go ahead and spray the side here. The great stuff about this Chemical Guys Nonsense Invisible Cleaner, aside from just how absolutely fantastic it is that it goes a long way. It stretches out a long way. You can use it, and if you use these agitator brushes, man, it works just fantastically. really cleans up nicely, and it'll continue to spread on your surface and do great things. So man, I'll tell you, just the first pass with this cleaner, and not sure if it's coming across in the video all that great, but should be. It is looking amazing. I mean, that airbag assembly looks just like new. So that's pretty awesome. So we're gonna set that to the side, and then we're gonna bring our steering wheel over into play. Now on this one, I'm gonna go a little bit more gentle. What I'm gonna do is take my cleaner and spray onto the brush itself. And we're just going to lightly brush over the steering wheel here. Now we are going to come across with another leather cleaner. So this is obviously not our last step, but just wanted you guys to know that this is the first step. And I like doing this step first because really my goal is to get any dirt, any loose dirt, things of that nature off the surface before I start using any type of leather cleaner. Now on this vinyl portion here, plastic portion here, I'm going to be more liberal with the cleaner and make sure to work into all the surfaces. Okay, let's give that a wipe off here. You know, I had found some of these three-spoke steering wheels in salvage yard searches, but they were either extremely worn out, sun faded, sun rotted. Some of them, the cruise control functionality was not working. The words, the letters right here were faded. But as you can see, this one still operates just like new, just like the one on my current steering wheel on my 3rd gen. All right, now we're going to get the back side here of our steering wheel, just a nice gentle brush over it again. And as I'm wiping this down, I'm doing it again very gently, not really applying a lot of pressure on the microfiber and on the surface. Just letting the microfiber do the work here. All right, and now one of the places on these steering wheels that gets so dirty is right down in here on the actual threads and seams themselves. So we're going to take this one section at a time, and we're going to dab, make some circular motions back and forth here, and then wipe it off. I absolutely love the red stitching on these 3-spoke sport wheels. Love it. Love that feature. And so, you know, getting these this red thread as clean as possible to let it stand out, you know, is really what my goal is here. Well, we've cleaned up the steering wheel, and I just kind of want to show you guys real quick all of the dirt that came off of the steering wheel on this yellow microfiber towel. So you can see that this nonsense cleaner definitely does its job, and that's exactly what I wanted to do before the next step. Well, we're moving on to step number 2, and what we're using is the Chemical Guys VRP vinyl rubber plastic protectant, super shine UV protection. This stuff is really good. I usually don't use this as like a final top coat, if I'm being honest, but in regards to cleaning things like this and getting things back to kind of a restored surface, I really do like this as a second stage. So what we're going to do here is take our microfiber pad, and we're going to put it on pretty liberally here, and we're just going to start to go to work to apply it onto the airbag cover. And I'm doing the same thing here that I did with my agitator brush, applying it in circular motions. And you know, with surfaces that you're restoring that haven't really been protected for quite some time, or in quite a few years, or like this case, you know, it's been sitting out in a junkyard and who knows how long it's been sitting there, you will feel the surface just soak it up, you know. And like right now, you know, this you guys saw how liberally I applied that onto my microfiber pad, and there's just none left on there. It is absolutely soaking into the surface, which is exactly what we want. You want it to just really marry in and get really nice in there. So we're gonna flip the microfiber pad around to our dry side, and we're gonna wipe it off with our dry side. And that's where we're gonna leave it. Man, look at that, guys. I'm telling you, that looks beautiful. You know, there's really almost like no imperfections in this airbag at all. So, wow, super pleased with that. So we're gonna sit that off to the side. That looks excellent. Now let's go ahead and move the steering wheel into action. And we're gonna do the same process here. Obviously, this one's gonna take a little bit longer as the steering wheel is bigger, but we're gonna start on the back side here, and we're gonna work our way around to the actual steering wheel itself. But same thing here, you know, as I'm wiping this VRP onto the surface, it is absolutely soaking it up like a sponge. In fact, that soaked it up so much, I'm going to do a little more for the remainder of this portion of the wheel. All right, flipping over to the dry side and giving it a dry pass. Okay, so we got the back side done, and now we are going to start to work on the actual wheel itself. I'm going to start here by priming these rough surfaces where the majority of the interaction with the human hand has occurred. And then we're going to get more on our pad here and start to spread it around. I'm probably going to start to use the dry side of the pad now that I'm on the actual wheel, so that the microfiber can do its work a little bit better. And then I'll use a separate microfiber towel to wipe this excess off. Now I'm really paying attention to these areas on the wheel to basically apply more pressure to allow that microfiber to work and grab any of that dirt. And you can really tell how much is coming off right there. We're getting a lot of this surface grime and accumulation of, you know, who knows, dead skin cells most likely, lack of cleaning, dirt, you know, we're getting a lot of that stuff off. And man, I'm telling you guys, this is looking a lot better than I had even hoped for. So pretty stoked, pretty excited. Definitely can't wait to see how it looks after our first pass cleaning. All right, so our first pass is complete, and we're gonna go ahead and take a clean microfiber towel here and start to dry off the VRP that we applied. And like I told you guys, that VRP was absolutely soaked into this material. It ate it up, which is what we want. Really moisturized the steering wheel, and that's exactly what you want. And I'm gonna do this whole process again over the course of the next couple of days, 2 or 3 more times. And that's because I want to build up those layers of protection on the surface, especially since this steering wheel is new to me. I don't know the last time it was done, how the previous owner took care of it. And it's great to build that layer of protection up on the surface before we install it into our 3rd gen 4Runner. Well, here we are, guys, after only 1 pass of each of these products. Look what an amazing result we have on this 3-spoke steering wheel. I am absolutely thrilled. And even places like this spot right here that I showed you guys and highlighted early in the video, look how nicely that buffed out and cleaned up with these products. The red stitching is really vibrant and intact. And that goes all the way across the entire steering wheel. The back of the steering wheel looks just as nice, super clean. I mean, I'm telling you, this wheel does not look 20 plus years old. So I am absolutely thrilled, man. We're gonna come back, like I said, over the course of the next couple of days and continue to clean, see what that spot is there, see if I can work on that. We're gonna continue to clean it, and like I said, build up these protective layers, and I'll show you guys in a couple of days what it looks like. Probably won't be much different than how it is now. I think I'll just feel better with it in regards to that buildup and those layers. And even in these locations where obviously you've got thumbs and hands as they sit and you drive, they are, as you would say, kind of faded, but again, they buffed out really nicely and cleaned up extremely well with these 2 products. Can't be happier. Fantastic. Super excited about this project. We'll hit you guys up in a couple days and we'll go over the next steps. Fast forward about a week and a half or so, guys, and here we are. Now, it might look the same to you guys, but every day in the past week and a half, I've come out here and continued that VRP process of application, wipe off, let it sit a day, come back the next day and repeat. And I'm super pleased with where this at. These highly touched areas look way better than they did in the very beginning, and the steering wheel looks beautiful. So we're ready to go to the next step in this rehab of this steering wheel, and that is going to be our center emblem here. Now, as you can see, it's just, you know, it's seen better days. And if you rub your finger across it, it almost feels like kind of like sandpaper. It's gritty. And so that needs to be addressed. So in the last week and a half of cleaning, I looked online, and it was actually quite difficult, a little more difficult than I expected to find this guy. But I ended up finding this TRD center emblem badge on eBay from a seller that I suppose makes them, because they're really, he doesn't have a big store. But this one I think looks fantastic. It's a carbon fiber back. It has that red TRD, Toyota Racing Development logo in the middle, and kind of has a bit of a 3D effect to it there, as you can see. a bit of a standoff, if you will. So check this out, man. I think that's going to look incredible on the steering wheel with that red stitching and be an immediate upgrade and improvement to the look of this wheel, especially once we get it into the 3rd gen. Now, this guy has an adhesive back. That's how you apply it. And in order to make certain that we get the best adherence to the surface, we need to clean this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little tool here and just start to scrape off. It almost feels like it's painted on there. So we're going to just scrape off all that black, get it back to the silver base, clean it with some isopropyl alcohol, make certain that that surface is as clean as possible before we put this new badge on. I want to make certain that this thing lasts as long as possible with without any unsightly peeling or anything poor like that. So we're ready to go. I'm super excited. Let's clean that off. Well, guys, today is the day, and I'm finally going to install my 3-spoke steering wheel into my 3rd gen 4Runner. Now, it's been about 3 weeks, maybe even 4, and a lot has gone on since then. I've had a lot of cold weather, a lot of rain, a lot of dark evenings since the time has changed, and just haven't had the ability to do a good video. I've also got some fresh ink here, and so I had to take it easy for about a week. However, I couldn't be more excited that today's the day, and we're finally gonna swap out this steering wheel. So the first thing we need to do is take our steering wheel out of the 3rd gen, and that's gonna start up front in the engine bay as we disconnect the battery. All right, guys, so we have the hood popped open, and we're going to start by disconnecting our negative terminal side first. And on my negative terminal here, I've got a bit of a system, if you will, on how to tighten this terminal down. At some point, I want to change terminals, but we're going to disconnect the negative side first. Always disconnect the negative side first to prevent any type of electrical short issues. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to disconnect our positive terminal after that. Now, what you want to do is you want to disconnect both of these terminals and step away for about 30 minutes. We want to make certain that there's no issues whatsoever with the airbag deployment. Anytime you're working with your airbag, it is absolutely imperative that you disconnect your battery and you let your ECU reset itself and just completely work anything out to where it's not connected to the system. That way, once you get into your vehicle and you start removing the airbag, you lessen the risk, and hopefully you don't have any risk of airbag deployment whatsoever. So we disconnected this. We're going to set a timer for 30 minutes, and then we're going to come back to the inside of the car and start getting the steering wheel out of the 4Runner. All right, guys, it's been a little bit more than 30 minutes. And so the first place we're going to start inside the 3rd gen is right here on the left and the right of the steering wheel airbag. Tucked behind the airbag are these little covers. Now, you guys may not have these covers, but if you do, all you need to do is take a little pick or a flathead screwdriver and pry out towards yourself. It'll come right out. Once that's out, it's going to expose down in there. You'll be able to see it. It's a screw with a star head, and this is going to take a T27. So I have a T27 socket here on the end of a 6-inch extension, and we're going to stick it in here, and it might take a little bit of wiggling around to find the right angle. There we go. Now that we have that, we'll stick on our ratchet and break it free. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the ratchet head off, and we're going to unscrew by hand. Now, you want to unscrew it as much as you can, and you'll feel it completely come loose. There we go. And that's about as much as we're going to get. So now that we've got the driver's side, let's go on over to the passenger side. All right, so over on the passenger side, we're just going to repeat these steps. This cover is tucked in between the cruise control and the airbag. So all I'm going to do is take my pick, or if you have a flathead, you can do it. Put it in between the spokes and pry that cover off. Then we're going to take our T27 socket and find the right angle. There it is. Get our ratchet attached, and we're going to start loosening it up. All right. So the next step in our process is to remove the actual airbag here from the steering wheel. And we're going to do this from standing outside the vehicle. And that's just a safety precaution. The last thing you want to do is be sitting here and for some odd reason this airbag to deploy, that would not make for a fun project. Now, if you start to tug on it here, you'll see that it's actually not released yet. And that's not a problem. It just means that those set screws haven't actually released enough to allow you to pull this airbag out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the driver's side, applying pressure, pulling on this side while unscrewing this screw even more. And slowly but surely, we should be able to get it out. All right, there is the driver's side, and now I'm going to swing around to the passenger side and take care of that one. Now I'm sitting in the passenger side seat, and that one looked like it was actually ready to come. So we've got the airbag loosened up. Now I'm going to swing back to the driver's side, and we're going to get everything unhooked. All right, so now we're ready to disconnect the airbag, and all you have to do is flip your airbag over, and you're going to see one connection point right here. There is a white piece within that yellow one. I'm going to take my pick tool, go underneath this outside piece, and lift up on the mechanism that holds it, and we should be able to slide it off towards the driver's side. There we go. Actually, that only ended up being my thumb. So now we have our airbag safely removed. I'm gonna go ahead and take this into the shop and get it out of the 4Runner. Now with the airbag out, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect our cruise control module, which is this white piece. Just stick your thumb underneath, apply some simple pressure, and it pulls right out. Now we're ready to go ahead and remove our steering wheel, and this is our nut that holds it on. So let's go ahead and get that done. Next step is going to be to remove this nut on the steering wheel to be able to remove the steering wheel from the vehicle, and that's going to be with this 19mm socket. So we're going to go ahead and put it on here. All right, easy enough. Now, I've removed my steering wheel in the past, so this shouldn't be difficult. You don't need a steering wheel puller, guys. All you need is this rubber mallet. We're going to give it some taps here and here, and as you can see, we've already got it loosened up. Make certain to be careful with that yellow connector. We don't want it to tug on that clock spring. Now we're ready to go ahead and put our 3-spoke steering wheel in. We're going to start by feeding that connector to the airbag in. Make certain to be very careful and place the steering wheel back on the splines as it should be. I'm going to wait to fully hook that up, and we're going to take this 19mm nut here and get it set back on. There we go. We're going to torque it down to spec here. All right, so I don't have my steering wheel at lock, so I'm going to hold it with my knees, and the torque spec here is going to be 25 foot-pounds on the steering wheel nut. There we go. All right, so now we're ready to hook up our cruise control, and that's going to be quite simple. This is a direct replacement from the 2002 Corolla S to my 3rd gen 4Runner. The ground is secure and we're all set. Now we're ready to hook up the airbag, and this also should be a direct connect. There we go, perfect. So the awesome part about this modification and this steering wheel swap, guys, is that it is an absolute direct plug and play. Now that we have our airbag in place, we're ready to get our set screws and put them back on each side of the steering wheel. All right, so these are a T27 as well. And we're gonna start just by hand tightening here. There we go. And we're gonna go over to the other side and tighten that up as well. Well, guys, the final touch is the steering wheel cover I ordered off of the TikTok shop. And I'm pretty excited about it. Apparently it's just supposed to snap on and be real snug. And man, that thing feels great. And honestly, I think it looks fantastic. What do you guys think? All right, let's get this battery plugged back in and make sure everything works. All right, let's get this thing hooked back up and on the road for a nice test drive on the new steering wheel. Well guys, first impressions of the Corolla steering wheel, and I'm loving it. It feels great in the vehicle and it looks great. It's definitely a sporty look in regards to the way the steering wheel appears compared to my OEM 3rd gen steering wheel. But honestly, it also feels sportier. And I think that's because this steering wheel is less in diameter than my OEM that I swapped out. I haven't measured it. I'm probably going to just to see if that's a placebo effect or not. But I really think this one is in less diameter and it does feel sportier when you're driving. Now, in case you guys are wondering, all of the connections hooked up perfectly and all of the steering wheel functions as it should. The horn's working and the cruise control works fantastically. In fact, it almost seems like the previous owner of the '02 Corolla didn't use the cruise control module at all, because it clicks and responds like brand new. So I'm really pleased with that. So there you have it, guys. We are all finished and I could not be happier. I've seen this done a lot online and I always wondered if I would like it, but I'm telling you, it looks so much better in person than I think I can describe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think this looks good? Would you do it to your rig? Man, I wouldn't go back. I think this looks really, really good. Guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe button for me. Share this content if you think somebody would be interested in it. And I'll catch you guys next time.